Okay, what is up, winning team? Hello and welcome to part 2 of our new series that we're doing today, which is about the misogyny in religion based on a video that I watched called 8 Women from 8 Cults by a lady whose channel is called Cults to Consciousness, and we're continuing under the prompt that she gave to the ladies of how did your cult use fear specifically for women to keep you small, passive, and obedient. And in the previous video I just did in part 1, I was talking about the fear of, the fear of not pleasing, God or your parents. Go and touch on that. I think that, is something that is really great strategical tactic, especially for us as women. Because again, like I said, these are why do you feel small, to keep you small, passive, and obedient. Because of course we want to please our parents. Also, whether it be in the church or in the religions or outside of, and by the way, if this is the first of the videos you're watching, go and check out the introduction video where I fully explain all about this. There's a whole bunch of ladies from all different types of cults, which we get into all of the different things going on in the different ones throughout the series. But yeah, like I was saying, yeah, why did I mention that? I can't remember why I mentioned that. I lost my train of thought completely. How did you culture? Yeah, basically I was just talking in the previous episode about, as women. I think because in society, women already are expected to have a higher sense of kind of well-behavedness in general, and that's just a general thing. Like it is what it is. Men are generally can get away with being a lot more crude just in every way that they carry themselves. There's way less expectation to show up looking, well kept or whatever the thing is. Of course, the classic, us women are supposed to, keep our legs closed and not be doing nothing, and they can go ahead and go and, do whatever they want to do, whether it's impregnate the nations, whether it's just sleep with whoever. I'm saying all of this to say that, unfortunately for religions and religious cults, and this is what makes them more unappetizing, unattractive to a lot of women, is that there is always this kind of expectation anyway that we're the ones, really the rules fully apply to us, but like there's a lot of T's and C's and exemptions for the male community. And I think that's a big part of it, why this is such a big deal for this topic to come up, because I feel like that kind of it's just so well accepted now that's why I feel like we're seeing the overcorrection, like with these girls who are trying to sleep with like 1,000 men. You wonder why they do this stuff, but this is kind of why. Because you start with this end of things. You start with these types of situations. Like, listen to the stuff that these women, the reasonings for why these women were kept small, passive, and obedient. Listen to this. So we had fear of pleasing God last time. This time, if they were not to be small and passive, obedient, so if they start speaking out saying that they don't like whatever, that they will be sent to these centers for misbehaving. There was also sex trafficking going on, right? And trafficking for speaking up. Right? They would be told that their lack of modesty is what's causing them pain and sickness. They would fear that their only path was, they were told things like, the fear that this path was the only way to succeed, and if you leave this path, you won't. You will no longer be worthy or accepted, or this is why I should spend more time on my writing. Fear of lack of data. So basically, like if you're wanting to leave, then you don't have enough information to want to stay, and that's why you want to leave, because you're lacking in information. So lack of data. Here's some of the ones that really I find so understanding. Using pregnancy to keep you there. How we look after them. So a lot of these cults, bearing in mind, just as a reminder, we've got Amish Mennonite, extremist fundamentalist Islamic, extremic fundamentalist Christianity, Hasidic Judaism, Mormonism, and Nixism. Using pregnancy to keep you there. Like a lot of these cults, they encourage, of course, and we're going to talk a lot about the weaponizing of children and having pregnancies. Like, you have all these 10 kids, they've forced you to be all reliant on them. This is another thing. that is a big, huge thought in my mind all the time, just in general, is in like, well, if you rely on a man in any way, shape, and form, and you have children with that man, and you are the predominant looker after of those children, if that man decides to drop you like a hot potato, you're screwed. And they basically do that on steroids in these cults, right? So how we look after them, that's how they keep you locked in. They keep you small, they keep you passive, they keep you obedient. This is what the ladies are saying. I'm taking notes on what the ladies said, right? But I'm just saying that I can understand even from my own experience as a woman who comes from religion, a very religious background, and how will you get to leave with them, right? So in a lot of these cults, the children would be taken. They wouldn't actually be sure that even, listen, let's just keep going and you guys will hear what I'm talking about, right? So a lot of them were expected to have kids super young, like having tens of kids for God's army, they would be told. So like, you've had all of these kids at age 16, you were none the wiser, right? Whatever age that you were having them, by the time you've now woken up to everything that's going on, it's like, oh, I don't know if I want to be a part of this, but now you've got 10 kids there. Now they're weaponizing your kids. Isn't that ironic that we're seeing the having your own children being weaponized here? It's the same thing we saw with Britney Spears. And that's how I read it in her book. She was like, dude, I took my kids, as soon as she had her kids, and she was like, I want to keep recording, but I want to do things on my own terms. And also I want to be able to keep my kids with me and whatever. That's when the issue started for her, because they had something to control over her. All they had to do was convince the world, convince the media, call up TMZ and be like, she's not fit to be a mother, blah, 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 blah. All of these tabloids go out. The jury of the sheeple runs along, right, to go and defend them and believe them. She ends up in a conservatorship. They dingle dangle her kids. So that's why she kept listening to them, because she'd want to be able to be around her children. And now her relationship with her children has been shattered in ways for life. Like, there's been so many issues that have come since she's now, out of the conservatorship, which I really hope that she is, and I want to believe that she is. And the only reason I'm not saying I am sure that she is because I would never want to fully. I've never seen it. I haven't seen it in person for myself, and we never know with this performance that they put on in Hollywood. So, all to say that these things aren't unusual. There are a lot of risks, here, and of course, pregnancy is one of the greatest ways that either of us can weaponize, as men or women. Women, we can weaponize a lot of things by getting pregnant. Men can also weaponize a lot of things by impregnating us. So there's that. They make sure you can't leave with your kids. So you might stay for your kids. This is what one of them said. Another one, the one who's from extreme Islam, she talks about when she broke up with her husband, her father actually came to court in support of her husband in all of this. And interestingly, in this extreme fundamentalist Islam, children automatically go to the father. So that's really interesting. If the child is age 7, boy, he has a choice of which parent he wants to live with. If the child is an age 7 girl, they automatically go to the father, which I think is heinous. Given that we know in Islam, Muhammad himself had a wife that was 9 years old. If you guys are new to this information, I have a whole playlist of me reading the Quran. Go and check it out, and you can find all the information there. Winning team members, you'll remember. That's when I stopped, because once we got to that point and all the research, I was like, enough is enough. And so, of course, you're not supposed to sleep with the girl until she's had her first period or whatever. But I actually had my first period at age 9. So when I heard that story, it horrified me. And again, these are the little things I'm trying to show that us ladies, us women are seeing and hearing. I'm envisioning that being me. Imagine I had just, for whatever reason, happened to be born into this family, and at age 9, now, like, as long as she's it's like, wait, we're not going to do anything as long as you become a woman now. But dude, did I become a woman at 9 years old? I can tell you for real that I did not. I was still in primary school. I was like year 5. Okay. I was in like year 5. I was like learning how to do long division. You know what I mean? So the kids are taken away to other families or boys, girls, centers. So that's another thing. The children thing is a big thing, which we may or may not do a separate video about. But the children being taken away was a big thing. Like that, a lot of these cults, the mothers have very little say on what happens with the kids. Either, they have all these kids, but they live with a different one of somewhere else, like with a different person or different people. They're sent to these kids, boys or girls centers. for me, these are just them weaponizing. For me, all of this, I will just say it here and now, seems like all it is a bunch of guys who are on a power trip and have a god complex, who have figured out a way to manipulate the weaknesses of us as women, to take advantage of us, to have as many children as possible and have as much sex with as many different women as they possibly can. And it is one of the most sick and disgusting things ever. And I can tell you guys, while listening to these videos, I never heard that demon, the one that knocks on my door every single day, about the hating men demon that is rampant in the female community. I never heard that demon knock so loudly as I was watching this series. I'll be honest. But you guys should be so happy that Jesus is the door in my life. So there is no entry, or no form of entry. But brother, this is what was happening with these women. And like, oh, it was so sad to see. And, you know, they were not like super old women. These are women of the times of now. This isn't in the olden days. This isn't in 3-5 generations ago. This is here and now, right? So kids are taken away. Listen to this. So no one reports child abuse because it's outside of guidelines, right? Because you don't want to, if you report child abuse of anything that's happening to your children, they're going to be taken away. That's what this is all about. They're also told that don't trust the police or worldly people because they will take your children. So can we see how the weaponization of just children, the weaponization, like it's things like this, can I just really tell you guys, it's truly things like this that like are the reason why a lot of women end up swaying to the other side. And a lot of people don't really stop to think about that. There is an undertone of the choice as a woman to really trust in any male figure out there in the world is a highly risky one, if you ask me, as a woman, in my personal opinion, as a 27-year-old woman living in, the United Kingdom, as of now, from my experiences and all the things that I've been through. It's a very risky choice, right? One that is for seemingly like highly likely where you are going to be taken advantage of in some way, shape, and form, let alone in religion, let alone in these extreme cults. And so it's the things that we should be so proud about. Like, I should feel so proud about being a woman and having a womb. I should feel so excited. Like, at a certain point, this woman in the book, we'll come to it anyways, I won't say what she said, but I should be so excited about the prospects of having children. I'm horrified at me being taken advantage of in my moments of weakness. I've said before, one of my greatest scary moments that I'm so scared of is actually giving birth, because I'm scared of how that I'll be in such a vulnerable state that anybody can do anything in that moment. Like, I can't just get up and stand up for myself or kick my legs or whatever. I've got a child coming out, and also now this child is here. Now I've made the decision to bring this child into this world, and whatever happens now, I'm partially to blame for their existence. Like, they don't have to be here. That's why I say to you guys that one of the things I feel right now is one of the best things I'm doing for my children is the fact that I haven't had them. And so they're protected. At least right now, I've protected them the best I can. And I'm just keeping it real, right? And this is why this is me choosing an option that not a lot of other people do. A lot of other women, they decide to take that power back in their own way. They decide to it's like, hey, if I'm going to be a utility anyway, if all I'm here to be is a utility, I may as well make myself one. And that's how I feel like we get to these girls who do the sleeping with 1,000 guys in one day. It's like, I may as well make something out of it. I may as well make money, like this bop house thing, which I found out about now. I didn't even know what a bop was until yesterday, but now we know. So, this is why these girls, a lot of younger girls, are switching to the other side, because like they're younger than me. They're seeing all this stuff. They're hearing the stories that some of us have been through and all of this. They're hearing whatever's going on. They've grown up on the internet. They've been overstimulated, overexposed to all of this stuff. They're seeing the things that some of these ladies, for example, have experienced. Some of these ladies are their mums, their whatevers, right? And so some women I understand flipping completely to the other side. And like I said, I feel like you either become highly independent boss lady who's just like doing you and just building and growing or whatever. You do want to be with somebody, but it's probably going to be unlikely because of the type of woman you become. Or, you go to the other side of where you try to be good and then you get taken advantage of, right? Which is what I feel like I think is the biggest risk. Or you just go to the other extreme where you just become an extremely sexual person just to then at least gain out of it, because of course, since we've learned here how men are when it comes to sex and things, you may as well make money. If you're going to be treated like a utility anyway, you may as well get rich doing it, right? Because if that's what's going to be happening, I'm not saying to you guys this is what I think, because I like about all men. I'm just telling you that this is unfortunately quite common. And like I said, these people, these girls, I've been really thinking recently about, like, it's actually crazy how so many girls are making so much money, and how much money we as women make from sex, and just men, just how men throw money at women just for some vagina. Like, I'm like, that's actually crazy. And the fact that y'all are still doing that says a lot about y'all, no offense. And it actually devalues the overall male population for me so much. Like I said, if Jesus wasn't at that door, it's not even like I would then go for women. I would just forget everyone. I would become a eunuch. So yeah, we're going to go into part 2 in the next video, where we're going to move on to the next prompt that the ladies are getting into, which was ways your cult used information control to keep you isolated and unaware of the outside, or to make you not believe information from the outside world. There's so many interesting things coming in here, interesting topics. This one's going to be an interesting one to dissect. But like I said, you know, everything's in the description box. But yeah, like I said, guys, my goal here is for us to all learn and grow. It's for us ladies to try not to completely give up. You know what I mean? I'm trying to like be the one to say, okay, let's give them a chance. Let's give them a shot. You know what I mean? But if we're going to give you a shot, you people need to step up to the plate, because otherwise you can't keep complaining. And honestly, I get it. I do not judge a lot of these women anymore, because not even anymore. I never really did. I don't judge them, because anyways, who are they having sex with anyway? And also, who's paying for their content? Because they wouldn't be making money on all this content if somebody wasn't paying for it. And that's the point. So, you know, you're ruining your own pool, your own pond that you want to then go and fish in. You want to go and dirty up the pond, and you want to wonder why you're pulling out dirty fish. That doesn't make any sense. You want to have good women and this, that, and the other, but then when you have them, you want to have a lovely, beautiful, delicate flower. But when you have them, you want to trample all over it and pull off the petals and do this, that, and the other. It doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just saying, these are my thoughts. These are the things I've been thinking about. This is why I'm like, hey, look, God, you know what? I'm actually really fine. Like, just me and the Lord and our relationship, my relationship with him. I don't have to have nothing in this life. Truthfully, this series is the greatest form of contraception. Can tell you, this world and these things I'm telling you about, these things are the greatest form of contraception that I ever had to anything. I'm not feeling tempted to do nothing. God forbid. Anyways, I'll see you guys in part 2. Like I said, guys, we got to grow, but we got to hold ourselves accountable. So let's do this thing. If life's a game, let's pay to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. I'll see you guys in part 3. See you guys in part 3. Goodbye.